The All-in-One Approach to Succeeding at the Piano, Book 1A. I'm on page 26 this evening. Unit 7. Here the students are learning intervals, new intervals. They're learning the interval of a fourth. So, before the students learn the interval of a fourth, they have to review the intervals that they know so well, their seconds and their thirds. So, practice steps. Plan the seconds, plan the sound, play with your wrist, level with your forearm. So I just call this hopping seconds just because they're hopping back and forth between two basic little places on the piano. Notice how nicely my wrist was in line with my forearm. Determine thirds. So I want the student to feel very confident when playing this piece. So the practice steps are also very good for students to not play anything wrong, right? Prevention is far better than correction. Plan the thirds, plan legato and staccato, and play on the outside tip of your thumb. Yes. So now the students are ready to learn fourths. And I always think that fourths sound kind of surprising or like a question. And the musicality girl says, your teacher will play some intervals. Can you sing the intervals? Can you play them back? Right? So you could play something like this. Right? So those are the first two notes of do a deer, right? Or Yankee Doodle, the first two notes of Yankee Doodle. So that's a second, right? And then you could say, what do you think this interval is? That's a major third, right? Yankee Doodle, 1, 2, right? Or do a deer, a female deer. Great songs to remember the intervals with. And then, of course, the fourth intervals. Here comes the bride. That's definitely a fourth interval. So, you know that I studied with Elvina Truman Pierce at Northwestern University during my doctoral years. And she was really great at teaching students and also teaching intervals. And I learned my intervals so well with her. I mean, I already knew my intervals, of course, but I learned how to teach them through her classes because she would always say what the interval looked like so that the student would remember the pattern visually. So they would say line to a space with 2 skipped, or a space to a line note with 2 skipped. And she would always have the students mark X's on the lines or the notes that were being skipped. So that is the perfect way for students to understand intervals. And of course, I was a product of the music tree when I was young, so we did that all the time, but I just didn't remember it until I got to university and studied with Elvina Pierce as to how a student really does learn how to connect those patterns with the patterns that they see in all of their pieces, right? So in Evening Mist on page 27, this is a terrific piece by Timothy Brown. We ask our students where the fourths are, and they can certainly point to the fours. So they're going to probably point to the blocked fourths in the second measure first. And they can definitely take a pencil and put an X through a space note and a line note that are skipped, so they really can see the fourth. And you can ask them, can you tell me what that looks like? It's a line note to a space note with 2 skipped in between. Do you see any fourths in the first measure? This one's harder, right? Because it's going across the 2 staffs. But they are noticing, oh my goodness, I'm playing a fourth between my left hand thumb and my right hand thumb. So this one is a space note to a line note with 2 keys skipped. I'm going to play this piece with the teacher duet part and a student part together. It's just a lovely, lovely piece. another great place for that subtle tissue box touch release. Isn't that such a beautiful piece? Oh my goodness. And the imagery of that house in the mist. Students love that.